introduce yourself?
Myself?
Yeah.
Am I still like supposed to be talking directly to you or the camera?
You can talk to both.
Okay. All right, so I'm Tyler Hope, aka Hopey, as I go by on Instagram, social media. The reason why I go by Hopey, if you don't know, in Australia, we just chuck a Y or an O on the end of your last name, and that's what you're stuck with. So that's how I go Hopey. About myself, I am a combat sports nutritionist. I'm a personal trainer for 18 years, and I've like specialized in combat sports nutrition. That's been my passion as of late, but I've gone through powerlifting, bodybuilding. I've done taekwondo growing up. I did a little bit of grappling earlier in my teens. I did a little bit again when I was 18, but at the moment I'm definitely balls deep in love with Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Australia?
Yes, I grew up here in Cairns.
Okay.
So I was born in Port Hedland, which is like where we are in Cairns on the east coast.
Okay.
You do the same thing all the way on the west coast, up above Broome.
Okay.
I was born there. Only about 6 months and my family moved here. But I lived here for 28 years before I took off the Gold Coast in 2019.
Okay, and then you said you've been to Thailand quite a few times, right?
So, well, I traveled there. So last year, I took off over to Phuket. I was only planning on spending about 6 months just training, and because I have an online business, I can kind of just float around, just do the tourist visa hops, do my 2 months and then go to somewhere else. But after living over there in the lifestyle, and especially fell in love with Thai people, the land of the smiles, that everyone is, just very polite. They're always showing gratitude. I was like, well, I can stay here for longer. I will. I would still be there if it wasn't for my brother's his bucks partying a wedding, which was earlier this year. It was 7 weeks apart, so it was a bit tricky just to like fly back and forth for it. And I thought I still have like 50% of my clientele here in Cairns because most of my career was here. So I thought I would get back on the floor. And I think sometimes when you're not on the gym floor for a period of time, you lose touch of that, especially that I don't lift as much as I used to. Now I just want to roll, always doing jiu-jitsu. So being back on the gym floor hands-on, I think it was good to revisit a few things and maybe come up with some new concepts or how I'd write programs and stuff.
How did you get into personal coaching? Like, what was the path to get you into that?
So I got into gym at the age of 13. Because I was always a late bloomer, not very big, and I played rugby league. I did a lot of taekwondo when I was younger, and I guess we would always fight in weight classes and stuff like that. But when I started playing into my later years for rugby league, all the boys were just getting bigger than me, and I was getting flung around on the field. So I started lifting weights to try put on some weight and get stronger. So I started lifting when I was 13. It was probably hit and miss. Maybe a few weeks on, a week off kind of thing. But by the time I got to 15, I was really regular.
Okay.
Through that period of time, I even actually, I did a post about this probably about 6 months ago. I was finishing year 11 and I just started kind of falling off my grades because I would just go to the gym instead. And my mum always said, if you can use your head, not your body, to earn like income, like try to opt for that. And then around the time when I was in the gym, I was a big fan of Kanye West, and the album was called The College Dropout. And he was talking about dropping out of college to pursue his passion for music. There's also another artist called David Dallas, or he went by Consai at the time. And he actually rapped about how he left like his career after university to pursue music. So from all of that, I was like, fuck the idea of...
I got stuck.
Fuck the idea of, going to do engineering, which is what I was kind of thinking of. I would pursue like gym and fitness. And then happened to be when I was thinking about that, there was like a sign on the wall that they were doing the Cert 3 and 4 in fitness through that gym that I was training at. So I asked my mum, said I want to do this course. and she thought I was just trying to take the easy route and skip university. And it was like $3,000 for the first half, and I had $3,000 saved up for my first car, so I'll pay for it. I just have to wait longer to get a car. So mum knew I was serious because I really wanted a car, as a a young teenager wants. So yeah, I paid for that. And then that's where it all started. So throughout year 12, I was studying fitness on weekends, and then still doing school throughout the week. And then by the time I finished high school, I was qualified as a fitness instructor, almost finished as a personal trainer. So I got a job literally straight away.
So you've been training people
I have no other skills.
since you were really young. You've been training people.
Yeah,
so
my English teacher helped me write my resume.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it was a Miss Buttersfield, I think her name was. Something like that. Yeah. I told her about it. She was like, this is awesome. So she helped me write the resume and whatever, and I sent it through. And then during our block exam, so we only had to go to school for the exams, and then we had like gaps in the day. So like went and did an exam and then caught the bus into town to go do like this interview. And then I did like the mock workout, and they asked me some questions like, cool, can you start Monday? I was like, can I start next Monday? Because I was go to schoolies week next week.
Yeah.
So I literally did schoolies week, and I like started my career. Mind you, it was really slow. And for those that are in the fitness industry, you only have a few shifts, you slowly build clients. So I guess in that context, with that slow build, I was still living at home and kind of finding my way. I was still lucky enough to live at home and maybe only earn a few $100s a week with that until I could build up my knowledge. I guess the funny side with that, being a late bloomer, even though I was 17, I looked 15.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't even think I was qualified yet. I was like an apprentice or something. So I would buy all these magazines and try to learn even more. Because that's how all the
magazines.
You would read magazines. Now I'm saying that, it's like we had old dial-up. I'd maybe log in once a week and plug into the wall. So now going on from that, you probably see me. I'm quite like anti-supplement. Like marketing stuff is bullshit. They're selling you stuff for your money, not for actual change. And a big part of that is that I would buy all these supplements I've seen in the magazines. I have all these articles of try shit, and then they were pushing in. I fucking wasted thousands of dollars trying to follow what was being pushed in the fitness industry. So that's why I'm now like, you could say, my friend called this the other day, I'm like the anti-guru, where I'm like kind of against a lot of what is in the fitness industry. Yeah.
So you say that, like, I know like when I was starting to get into fitness, and I'm still like trying to figure out like how to eat and like what I need to keep myself energized, which I've hit quite the lull lately where I'm just like, I don't know how to get the energy. And like I've considered taking supplements, I've considered all that stuff, but then like you see all kinds of different things on the social medias of like what to take and what not to take. What do you usually tell people when it comes to what supplements they should be taking, or what they should even be looking for?
If you're feeling tired and lacking energy, it's because there's an imbalance of energy intake.
Okay.
And that's calories. A lot of people don't make that equation that calories is energy. And if you're feeling tired, like taking a supplement or a multivitamin, they're minerals and vitamins, they aren't energy.
Okay.
They have the tiniest bit of what they could transfer. So if you understand, or at least have the idea of thermodynamics, or there's a law of exchange, you have to, like, literally you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So taking a supplement, most cases won't start giving you more energy. I guess caffeine can be an outlier, but it's a temporary, it's blocking the sense of fatigue, but when it wears off, it kind of comes later on. This is why when the coffee starts to wear off, now you're like, oh, I'm super drowsy. And that can only last so much as well. Like after a while, caffeine or having more and more starts to wear off as well. But having more energy comes down to energy balance.
Okay.
And if you understand the basic equation of energy in, energy out, and where you're at, so if you were burning more energy than you're eating, you're going to be in a deficit, which is what you want for fat loss. But if it's too great, then there's other mechanisms where your body will start to try to preserve, whether it's for your tissue. Because if you're in a very large deficit, your body will actually start using muscle tissue and convert that into sugar to utilize as well. So there's the body is really good at trying to regulate that.
Okay.
And one of the first things, if you're in a large deficit for a period of time, you will feel sluggish because it's making your body use less energy and be more efficient because it doesn't want to tap into more.
Okay.
So that's a basic concept there. Yeah, so this is why I'm such a big advocate of counting calories or tracking your macros, and it's not a life sentence. And I think that's why a lot of people are hesitant of just giving it a crack.
Yeah,
So I don't want to track calories my whole life. It's like, no, but if you do it for a period of time and you weigh certain foods and you see it in front of you, you know that this is 300 calories of carbs from rice in front of me. Otherwise, you have no idea. Like if I ask you like how many 300 grams of carbs in front of you, what does it look like?
I have no clue.
You have no fucking idea.
Clue.
Yeah, and that's okay. But if you just go, okay, this is a short stint, it's like when you do a little course. Once you come out of it, you learn something for the rest of your life. And I think this is like my whole thing is like, it frustrates me because people don't hesitate to jump on a keto diet, on a juice cleanse, or they'll buy the supplement. They won't even bat an eyelid twice.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the idea of hiring a coach, you're like, ooh, I don't know whether it's worth it.
Yeah.
So you throw your money at like stuff that's pretty low. It's like knowledge is power. Like knowledge is the key to making better decisions, informed decisions, whether it's investment wise or for your health. But I guess I'll back that there are a lot of shit coaches out there too that feed into upselling you to buy this this protein powder with my promo code so they get the kickback and all this other stuff. So I can understand that as well.
Yeah, I think the fitness world is really hard to get into if you really don't know what you're doing. And I think a lot of people have a lot of issues with that, and that's why most of them don't like starting.
Yeah.
And even if they do start, they end up quitting because there's so much different information out there and everyone's saying something else.
Yeah. And there was a study, fucking these birds being crazy. There was a study done on like misinformation spreading. And it was, I don't know whether it was directly relating to like nutrition tips or not. The person may have talked about it in that context, but there was something that was like just a straight up lie, then a true fact. And then they gathered the data of like how far it went, engagement and stuff.
Yeah.
The one that was a straight up lie or a myth, it reached 6 times more people.
Really?
Yeah. And they tested on several different things. So I probably should look that up to get like the cases of that.
Yeah.
But it just shows how like false information can spread much faster.
That's so interesting.
So normally if it sounds too good to be true, it probably fucking is.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to supplements. Like I have this other 9 times, if it's not creatine monohydrate, which is one of the best supplements out there.
I was going to ask about that too, because I was watching that reel that you put on about it, and I was just like, that's where the supplement question came from. Because I was like, okay, so like, I heard so many different things about creatine and how it's bad for you in some ways, but it's also in a certain
It's not bad at all. It's the most tested supplement, like in studies and thoroughly tested, hands down the most. We're getting rained on.
Maybe we can just scoot under the tree just for a minute or two. Get a little closer.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking about that, because I saw that reel earlier and I was like, okay, well, like, I know you're not big on supplements, but then like there's so much that I've seen like controversy on creatine.
I think you should take creatine every day, hands on.
Even for like women?
Yep. There's even parts of which with cognitive function. So now you want to talk about some mental health stuff.
Yeah.
But they're doing lots of creatine helping those on like SLRs. So actually fancy.
There seems to be like a lot of women that have iron deficiencies.
Yeah.
And like in the US, like I felt like that wasn't really ever an issue that I ever heard of. But like everyone, like there's so many people that I work with that talk about having an iron deficiency.
Yeah. Are they actually tested as well?
I have one friend that got tested, and she was iron.
Because I know from just working in the industry, a lot of people will claim to be iron deficient and they'll claim to be celiac and lactose intolerant, and they actually haven't like clinically got it tested. They just felt this way and go cool, and then they anecdotally made a change and they felt better. So they're like, oh, I gave them this I'm deficient. It's like, well, no, maybe you were like on the low end. But yeah, that's just maybe a little segue thing of mine as well, that people like to be labeled, and then they like to have something like they're fucking broken.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you just got to make a few changes and then you be sweet.
Yeah. That makes sense. So like what aspects of your job do you like the most? Like, is it helping people get like their dream bodies, or I know you do more like martial arts type of like combat training.
That's what I focus on, like market on, but like I got a girl jumping on stage in 4 weeks that I'm coaching. Yeah. I don't target like bodybuilders, but I've known her for a long time. She used to compete around the time I competed. She reached out to me if I would take her on. I said, well, I obviously know how to coach. I've coached probably 100 stage appearances for other people as well. Yeah. I did 20 shows myself, let alone I ran my own bodybuilding shows as well. I ran 3 of them here in Cairns. So I have a lot of knowledge in it. I'm just not passionate about it anymore. And I just think it's wrong for me just to try and take on anyone who can do it if I'm not passionate about it, because they're not going to get my full attention on it, like, to be honest. But I like her and she's a hard worker and we get along. So there's a difference of getting my attention because we get along. Yeah. Anyway, I've got like, 4 or 5 clients that are like bodybuilding focused clients who they'll like to compete or they're about to, like some that might compete next year, like next year. But what I love the most, and I guess this was my initial drive with bodybuilding, because it's routine. And then once I start having my life organized with my meals and when I'm training and then structure of work, I just had a lot of peace in my mind where I could be present in day. And that was a big part with my mental health in general. And I think there is downsides of bodybuilding, and I can talk about too, that can cause mental health problems as well. But that's what I kind of fell into. And then when I get people to actually find structure in their life, and then they're feeling better, and then they start having more energy to play with their kids, and then, you know, they feel better, their partners love them more, or they got more energy for them, and, you know, I guess there's other sides of their relationship that can improve as well. Like, I really love hearing that stuff. Like, I fucking got into the fitness industry because I wanted to help change lives. There's just always extremities of bodybuilding that they're just like a vehicle of like extremities of things of that they work. But so I'm sure you would know with jiu-jitsu as well, like competing, and then, you know, whether you're trying to make weight for a certain weight class or whatever, it's just having something to focus for and move towards it with a strategy and achieving it. Like, it doesn't matter your actual journey or the path, is actually just having a plan and ticking it off and having success. It gives you a little bit of like a purpose. There's like something to work towards. There's a huge difference of when I get out of bed in the morning when I know I've got a competition coming up or whatever it is. And sometimes it's just something simple of getting your food ready before you go to the gym. You know what I mean? So with all of the clients that you've had over the years, have you had a lot of them that come to you with mental health issues, like depression, PTSD, that kind of stuff? And like, has there been, like, have you seen trends in like, from when they first come to you towards kind of the end of? I would say there's a low end of them would like come to me to help that. Like they've got that source, my mental health is fucked, let's be honest, getting a PT, sports nutritionist probably isn't, like, you're thinking of psychologists or psychiatrists, right? But it tends to be like an underlying factor. Wonder that they've already sought help for their mental health, and then they're like, you need to work on these other aspects, and then they seek me. Or they're trying to find how to make themselves better, and then as they're actually going through it, especially with men, they're like, all this stuff is like, this isn't normal, man. Like, you probably should go seek help, but I'm gonna be here and, you know, help you through this process. I've noticed that a lot more, that when I coach men, it'll kind of come out later in the coaching. And I think it's like men in general, you know, don't speak up. So with women, sometimes they're like, oh, I've got this and at the start, and I've been told to go help with this. So yeah, I wouldn't say they seek me directly because they have that problem. I think it's like an underlying factor of why I might be a choice out of several others.
Yeah, because like my thought process with that is like I know there's so many, again, like social media and like all these different things. Or like if you are, you know, a little bit depressed or you're not feeling yourself, like start exercising, you know, get a workout in and stuff. And I feel like people, maybe even like more so women, when they don't know how to start and they feel really shitty about themselves, like they would maybe seek some help with that.
100%, but I don't think they come and seek me directly because I'm struggling with my mental health.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely part of the picture. Okay. And I think in this whole sense, like, food is life. And I say this often. How we eat branches off onto all aspects of our life. Okay. This is why I moved from personal training and being in the gym. One, I kind of got sick of busting people's asses in the gym, doing boot camp stuff, then they go home and pull into KFC on the way home and just self-sabotage it. It's like, so there's a psychological side there, or being underprepared. So there's other reasons why people made mistakes. So one, as I started venturing into nutrition, because you can't out-train a bad diet, but then if we eat better, we feel better, we're more inclined to make better decisions in life. And whether those better decisions are for continuous meals, or the other one is then making better decisions in their careers or their friendships and relationships. Okay. So like, this is why I think food is life, because it influences. Like, there's always jokes like, oh, the girls be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was cranky, I was hangry. Yeah. You know, like, it's a common thing, but it's like, but you don't have to be fucking hangry if you have a fucking plan with your food. Like, this is like when people like joke around with that. Like, my brain just goes, but it's not funny because it was irresponsible to get yourself to a state to where you're hangry and you're lashed out at your partner.
That makes sense.
Like, but this is me, like, I realize I think differently to people, but I don't know if it's just my view on food and not planning.
I feel like people just aren't educated enough when it comes to nutrition and food. Like, there's just so much false information, and there's all kinds of different studies that come out, and it's hard for someone who doesn't have a background in fitness like you or nutrition to weed out, like, what should I be eating? How much should I be eating? If I eat this much, am I going to get fat? Am I going to not eat enough? Like, yeah,
I think in general, is having some structure of eating when you grow up. And I always talk about this, like, even when I was growing up, dinner was always meat, 3 veg, and a carb sauce. Yeah. Like, that was always kind of our thing. And then we would always have some fruit throughout the day with our sandwiches and stuff like that. And we always had to have breakfast to fuel our brains. Like, that's how I was raised from my mother. Same. But a lot of people aren't that way. And I remember going to like high school and my friends are having fairy bread. I don't know if you know what fairy bread is. We call it. No. So it's, you have white bread, butter or margarine, and then you put like hundreds and thousands of sprinkles on it. Okay. It's called fairy bread. Interesting. I remember having kids like having a few of those as that packed lunch for school with like a juice popper. So it's just like sugar and sugar and sugar. I remember seeing that as a kid. It's like, fuck, your teeth want to rot. Yeah. So there's a big side of that. I guess I'm going on a segue with that. Some people don't appreciate it because they've never gone through a process in their life of eating a bit better for a sustained period of time, more than 3 days. I'm talking about a few weeks, and how much better they feel, to value why they should do that. So
do you think when it comes to mental health, it's a combination of working out and eating, or do you think a lot of it, or more so of it, comes from eating?
I think more so. A large portion is how you eat. Okay. Yeah. And I love exercise. I love training. I love doing jiu-jitsu and that. But I'm a big believer of how you're managing some kind of food that's in relation to it, and it's not restriction. It is balance, but understanding balance is complicated until you've done it for a period of time. But exercising allows you to have a bigger budget of what you can spend your calories on in a basic context. So if you train more, you can eat more calories, eat more enjoyable foods, get more like dopamine from delicious foods, and more food that you can share with people and have experiences with if you exercise more.
Okay.
So it like working out just increases your capacity.
Okay.
Yeah. But adding to what I was saying before about growing up and being taught a certain way, they reckon if you have one obese parent, you have a 50% chance of being obese.
Really?
If you have 2 obese parents, you have an 80% chance of being obese.
Well, that makes sense because you're mimicking their eating habits.
100%. So this is where I literally get terrified at times where I see how our rates are going when it's like, I can't recall exactly, but it's like 33% Australians obese and 34% are overweight. So it leaves 1/3 of Australians normal or underweight.
Yeah.
And these parents are just kind of getting quick fixes, and there is a part of marketing where we sell you the idea where you can just get takeaway and stuff and it's easy and it's fine. But those habits really start to roll on, and I think that's why our health issue is growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then I think incline with that or involved with that is the mental health decline.
That makes a lot of sense. So you said you did Taekwondo when you were younger, and obviously now you do Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
How was that whole process of getting into martial arts?
Well, my father was a Taekwondo instructor.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like my first word as a kid was turtle. Like it wasn't mum or dad, it was turtle. If I cried, they'll put the whole VHS of fucking Ninja Turtles on, I just would stop crying.
Aww.
And then so turtle was like my first word.
That's cute.
So I grew up around martial arts and stuff.
Okay.
Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and things like that. So I actually started when I was 5, but then my dad kicked me out of the class. I got banned because I just talked too much.
Oh.
And I kept interrupting the class. But again, it was like my father, I hadn't registered, we're in class now, I have to shut up and follow.
Yeah.
So then it was like 6 when I started, and then I went all the way through till I was like 13.
Doing just Taekwondo?
Yeah, I played rugby league as well, did like a bit of tennis and cricket and stuff like that. So I played a lot of sports my whole life. And then I quit when I was 13 because my parents had split. And then I just focused more on rugby, or playing rugby league. And I guess now that I've even mentioned that too, that's when I started getting into weight. So maybe the weight training was kind of filling in that time of not going to Taekwondo and having some other kind of like outlet. And then from there, when I was 18, when I gave up rugby league, I actually went back to martial arts. I started doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but classes were in the afternoon and my PT career was growing, so it was a bit hard because new people would want to train 5:30, or as I got more clients, my afternoons filled up. So I had to kind of skip class, earn money. So that's why I gravitated to bodybuilding, powerlifting, because I could train that easily around my clients. But when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I did a little bit of Muay Thai as well, and I was training that and kind of jumping between both. So that's kind of that segue, and then I always loved watching UFC and stuff like that. So then when it came to, I had made a decision in 2018 because I had traveled a lot and spending a lot of money competing. So if I don't win my pro card, I'm going to retire. So I still won the international show. In one of my class, but then the president said I still wasn't good enough. There was maybe some political BS which turns to be there, so I retired from bodybuilding. And then through that I started drinking a lot more. A lot of party drugs came into it as well. No. Well, because I'm now 28, 29, I didn't party a lot in my younger years when people may do that, because I had my career and I was training, so I was kind of like catching up on my youth, which is not so good once you're now married.
That makes sense.
Hence why I'm now divorced. But there's a lot of layers to all that as well. But yeah, so after a period of time, I tried doing powerlifting again. I just wasn't passionate about it, and I knew I needed to find something. So I was like, I'll find a jiu-jitsu club nearby, and started training again, and got absolutely humbled being 93 kilos as an ex-powerlifter and getting tapped out by a girl, and I had to vomit in the car park. So I was like, fuck, I got to get good at this. I know I'm better than this. I used to train a long time ago. And then it gets addictive, as you know.
Yeah,
after getting humbled, and then if you're a bit stubborn, you just got to keep going back.
Yeah, and you just replay it over and over in your head. Like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
Yeah. And then, so that's kind of that journey as well.
Yeah. So, how long did it, because you're a purple belt now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
asking me that question, you know.
well, I was like, is he blue or is he purple? No, purple belt. How long did it take you to go from white belt to blue belt?
1 year.
Just 1 year?
Yeah.
And then blue belt to purple belt?
Yeah, so technically, I don't like saying this, but in the sense, I technically got given my blue belt when I was 18.
Okay.
When I trained sporadically for about 1.5 years. It was on and off. But our club was mostly white belts, so like 1 blue belt and 1 black belt, and we're training at the PCYC. And then I won like the North Queensland Championship tournament, but it was more so that I was just like fit and strong.
Okay.
And then after that, I pretty much was blue belt blues and ran away. It was more my career.
Okay.
But we'll just say that I ran away once I got my blue belt. And when I came back into Gold Coast, when I trained at Bundle, I showed up to the class and I still couldn't move like I used to, let alone when I did train, I was like 75 kilos and now I'm like 93. Like, I've been 97 at my heaviest, so I was like this big fucking buffalo trying to shrimp, like.
Yeah.
So, after class, I just said to him, like, I haven't trained for 10 years. I technically got my blue belt, but I know I'm not at that level. I think also the level has changed in the years as well. I'm like, I don't feel like I should wear it. Like, what are your thoughts? Because I don't want to, like, you're obviously the professor.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, we'll just progress you faster if that's the case. So I got my first stripe in a month because I knew, like, the basics. And then after that, it was kind of like 3 to 4 months, as you could, like, as some white belts do. Especially if you're like a little bit athletic and coordinated, you can kind of pick up on that. But then from that 1 year, it might have been like 14 months when I got my blue, winning a few competitions and stuff like that. But then it took me pretty much 4 years to get to purple from there. But it didn't help that I went and traveled.
Yeah. But you were still doing jiu-jitsu when you were traveling too.
Yeah, but it wasn't with my professor to promote me.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why when I competed at the state titles recently, I went and trained at my old club, and I got promoted by my old professor who I trained with for like 4 years consistently. Shout out to Calcium Gracie, Fabio Soares.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I know, like, based off social media again, there's like a lot of, not controversy, but there's a lot of talk about like the belt system not really.
It don't mean shit.
Yeah, it doesn't mean shit. What do you think about that?
The reason why I'm saying that is because, like, I got my 4th stripe on my blue belt before I went over to Phuket.
Okay.
Mind you, at the time I was mostly training in the gi, and I trained at one gym, Lion something, on the big fitness street, not far from Tiger, and that, as a lot of people know. And I was like, okay, cool. And then actually a girl on Tinder that I was chatting to, funny enough, we were actually still friends. She's actually quite big in the fitness industry around Thailand and stuff like that as well. But she said, my friends train at PGA, Phuket Grappling Academy, you should go have a look. So I went there, but they do no-gi only, and they do some wrestling, but they specialize in that. I was like, okay, cool. And I remember just getting fucking smashed. And I'm like, before that, I'm like, oh, I'm not far from purple belt. And I'm just getting fucking ragdolled. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and some of these dudes were still technically white belts. Like, they may have had a little bit of background in wrestling and stuff like that. I was like, fuck, this is fucking wild. But it's like, it's a different style of grappling, and I think this is why Caleb calls the no-gi at grounded submission grappling, not jiu-jitsu, because it's different.
Yeah.
Let alone what's illegal and not illegal, but just like the style and trying to remain on top or whatever you're doing. And I just think grappling in general is growing at such a fast rate now with internet.
Yeah.
It's hard to say someone is at a certain level.
Yeah, because like each professor also grades them differently too.
100%. Oh, my leg's gone a bit numb. Oh. Mind me.
Yeah. Getting old.
Yeah, I am fucking 35 and old shit. Yeah, so it's a bit hard to say that. Like, I've even seen that training like blue belts over when I've been in Asia, and then the blue belt taps out the professor who's a black belt. Again, sometimes like you don't know because they let them work and then they got to their best position, and then, you know.
Yeah.
So that's like another thing to take from when you're at training. Like, cool, you want to celebrate, you have these little achievements, but you can't take it as 100% gospel that you tapped an upper belt or you got better than that person. Sometimes they want to try work from a position and let you get there. You may have never even got there with your skill if they didn't. Sometimes they're just having a bad day. I just think, like, you know, I think it's still good to celebrate something, but don't let it get to your head.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like I definitely have that issue sometimes, especially when I first started at Grounded. And still now, like, it just gets smashed every single time I come. Just smashed over and over and over. And it's like, what the fuck? And then sometimes I leave there just feeling so, like, after, like, the first 2 weeks that I started, how I was going, like, every day for, like, the first 2 weeks. By the end of that, I was so burnt out and just so bruised that I was like, did I ever learn jujitsu? Like, the past 2 years that I've done jujitsu, like, was that just like completely nothing? Because I just got my ass kicked for 2 weeks straight. And it was so discouraging. And like, I think that made me feel like it was almost hard for me to come back. And it's still a little bit hard for me to come back. I mean, it's not like a bruised ego or anything like that. It's just kind of like, that really fucking sucks. Just getting smashed every single day. And it was like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I feel like
I'm going to try. My brain goes into a bit of a coach mode kind of thing now for this. But it's like, I think this is very similar to people in health and fitness. They have a few attempts and then they fail. Like, they kind of like, and then they're not getting the results. I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do? I'm not getting better. And that's kind of like what you're like, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, what is your plan to get better? You don't have one. I know it's a little bit tricky when it comes to jiu-jitsu, but I always talk about having a side burst. So at the moment, like previously, I was trying to work a triangle setup from this, from spider, from spiderweb, which is like the armbar setup for, that was my thing, to try to get to an armbar, then set up the triangle, because that's something I really wanted to work. They're all mounted triangles. That was my side quest to really work. And then, that was my thing for a period of time. So whenever I sparred at the end, I was trying to get to that position. And then however I would get to the armbar position became a sequence, and I would have a side quest of what I'd try to get at and then go from there. There's a period of time before that. It's like, how can I get to saddle? And I will try different ways of getting to saddle position. So that would be my side quest, because obviously the lesson has a topic and then there's like a string of what they're doing for the week. But what is something that you want to get really good at? And having those side quests that you keep rinsing and repeating it.
So, did you have that mindset as a white belt, or is that something you just kind of picked up along the jiu-jitsu
I picked
journey?
up as I started feeling like, fuck, I'm shit as a blue belt. I've got like one stripe and I fucking suck. Still getting beaten. So I was like, well, what do I got to do? And I was like, I can't just keep showing up. And yes, people say that, and there's a truth to, you just have to keep showing up. But it's like, but I talk about this a lot with a client. If you're going to keep doing something and you don't understand the value in the trajectory of where you're going, this is why I don't like CrossFit. You show up and do a workout and go hard for that thing. Unless I haven't been coached super well in that thing too. But it's like, that's why I love bodybuilding, powerlifting. I'm doing these workouts because I'm focusing on building my pec muscle. I'm trying to bring out my deltoid. I don't mind about my legs. These are happy. So there is a clear path of what I'm trying to do and get in there. So then I had reflected on that, and I was like, all right, so then I need to have things that I want to get good at. And then I have some other things where I go, I fucking suck at closed guard. So I'm going to keep going and pulling guard and try to get better at some kind of concept that I'd go to for that. And then every month I'd reevaluate whether I continue on that and maybe branch off it, or I'd try something new. And once I kind of just had those little moments, it made it a lot more enjoyable, especially like having a side quest. I think that's my brain kind of too. Like, and then I would get that triangle from the armbar position from the spider web. Boom. That's my side quest, extra bonus XP. Cool. Awesome. Like, so, I think that made it more enjoyable again instead of just showing up and getting smashed and learning things the hard way.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because it's like, I feel like as a white belt, it's like you come in and like you train and like you try to do your best, but you still don't really have like a concept of, because like you suck at everything in it. So it's like, okay, what do I pick through all of this sucking that's going to make me just a little bit better? Like, how do I pick when I come in every time, you know, like, because there's just so many things that need improvement that it makes it's confusing to be like,
but
okay,
the thing is, it doesn't have to be the right answer.
Okay.
I saw Jordan Peterson live in Brisbane about 2 years ago, and one of the things he talked about is like, a lot of people are worried about where they're going. It's like, you just need to have a trajectory that you're moving on, or this path. You trying to move towards something gives you that reason to get out of bed in the morning, and you learn shit on that way.
Okay.
That may not be the right path, but you learnt skills and knowledge on that way that will set you up better for the right path, whatever that may be.
Okay.
But then you're getting up and then doing more because you're excited to achieve whatever it is. And I think if you're trying to figure out what you should focus on next, one, ask your professor, what do you think is going to work at that?
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be the right decision. It's just the pursuit of getting better that's what makes you feel good. And that's my biggest, that's like my mantra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, I fucking sucked at social media, trying to do videos and writing scripts and shit. And like, I used to like pull my hair out when I was like, that's why I got no more hair. Yeah. Over and where I like, but this again comes down to seeing the value in it. I did the STC Fit Standout PT course. Shout out to those guys. Anyone who signs up to them, say I referred you, so I get a kickback. But one of the things is for coaching is like when you see the value, and I was just trying to say is like the value of why you're showing up today to class. Cool, I love hanging out with the people and I feel good, but it's like, I'm going to get a little bit better at this because like I'm going to be moving in one element or one pillar of jiu-jitsu better. And then there's the other aspect of like mental health and physical exercise. Once we start to build value around it, it gets easier to be motivated. So the reason why I was just saying that was social media, because I used to hate it and I was stressed about it, and I didn't want to be this fucking wanker who's talking shit and look like, I don't know, just look like a wank online. Because there's so many people, I see people online, I'm like, oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, I'm the same way for like starting this podcast. I'm just like, is this just dumb? Like, is this even make any sense?
But you have to fail and you got to fuck around and find out and do shit. But the whole point, we can even, so what I was going to say with this is like, and I learned this from the Standout PT course with STC Fit, is like, why are you creating content? Okay, yes, it's nice to try to get some more clients, but if you create a piece of content that then makes someone make a better decision with their nutrition, and then they start making, and that changes their life, you could be that catalyst that changed that person's life. From one post that you press send on. Now, once I looked at that, I was like, oh, this is super valuable to make content now. Like, this is why I will jump on a podcast and talk about stuff, because it may help one person. So 1 hour of my time that may possibly help someone's life, that's fucking cool. And I have the opportunity to do that, and that's an opportunity you have from doing
Exactly, and that's why I've continued to do it, because like when I first started it, I was just like, people are gonna think this is so silly, they're gonna be like, oh, this is so cringy. But then after I put out like the first couple podcasts, I had people DMing me, and like people that I haven't even talked to for years, and like talking about a specific part in the video, and they're just like, oh my god, they like helped me, and they like list all these things that are going wrong in their lives, and they're like talking about how one thing that someone said in my videos just like made their day. So that's why we're here.
I was actually talking to my media manager about the other day, because my numbers hadn't been going up as much as like one of her other clients. And it's like, let me guess, it's a female client. And she's like, yes. And it was like, it's actually two good looking ladies. I'm like, the algorithm's sexist. But no, it's more, I think women are more likely to reach out and be like, hey, this is cool, this has helped me, blah, blah, blah. They will share it.
Okay, yeah.
Dudes will be like, cool, hit like, scroll
Go
on.
to the next one.
Because like 60-70% of my engagement online are men. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll message me like, looking good, bro, or whatever, but a lot of the time it's just derogatory terms to me or lighthearted. But like, I think in that sense too, it can be harder to grow on social media as a male from that's helping other males. And one thing I wanted to talk about, and I already kind of did a little bit with men's mental health, it's like, I think if men see the value of actually commenting on another guy that they like and appreciate, can help them grow, that's going to help men's voices be louder in general online.
Yeah.
I think like I now purposely go out of my way to unfollow females.
Really?
Just because it's just very easy, and I think they get pushed in the algorithm more, and that's due to women more likely to engage and share, so they just get more organically pushed up. So
that makes sense.
sometimes I'm like, all right, I followed you or whatever, but I honestly just don't care anymore. I just did it because I liked that piece.
Yeah.
And I just hate to feel that it's like all women on social media, but social media and mental health is a whole other fucking thing that we can go to.
Yeah, we'd need a whole nother podcast for that though. Whole nother hour.
And what I wanted to say with that too, because like at first I felt a bit weird like going out of my way unfollowing certain people and stuff like that. Doesn't mean I don't dislike you as a person, just whatever you're pushing at the moment I'm not interested in.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to keep my feed with shit that I really like, whether it's memes or jiu-jitsu, nutrition stuff, and nutrition in a healthy context as well. And I think men don't do that enough.
Okay.
I think people in general don't.
Yeah.
They may feel weird to unfollow someone because it's going to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
No,
that definitely makes a lot of sense.
I think you should detoxify is probably not the right word. You should audit your social media.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If I'm starting to feel depressed by what I'm looking at,
then you should change it for sure.
Unfollow them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're seeing famous people in their yachts and shit, oh fuck, I'm poor, well, just unfollow them. You're the algorithm puts shit in front of you of what you react to.
Yeah.
And that's I think, and this is even another segue with fucking mental health. It's like sometimes you have to choose to be happy that day. And it's fucking hard.
Yeah, in one of my other podcasts, we talked about how like people, it's so easy to fall into that victim mindset the second that you're having a bad day, because in some sense it makes you feel like, okay, there's a valid reason for me to be really, really sad right now because I'm a victim and boohoo, but like my life sucks, rather than being like, all right, well today was a shit day, but here are some positive things that happened, and talking to this person made me really happy, or this little moment was really great, instead of just taking all the bad and being like, oh well, my life sucks.
Yeah, I think when you start to put my life sucks, it's like it stops you from not living with gratitude, and then you don't like, because it's the small things in life that make you happy or catch you off guard and then really brighten your day.
Exactly.
But if you're in this narrow thing, you're not open to seeing those small things. It's funny, and especially living in Thailand, like seeing a lot of people just always with gratitude, always saying, you know, thank you and stuff like that, and always smiling. And I don't know if I told you the story when my Wi-Fi was playing up in like my first month when I was over there.
No, I don't think
so. I had this fucking first world problems moment. I had some my work to do, but the Wi-Fi in my Airbnb wasn't working, so I was cracking the shit. Like, fuck, I got work to do. I was just being a spoiled little, I won't say the C word, I was about to. And I was just like, I'll go for a ride on my bike. Maybe the Wi-Fi will be up. So I went for a scooter ride, and as I'm riding along, then there's like an elephant sanctuary that I didn't realize was there. I was like, holy cool, there's some fucking elephants there. And then I ride on a little bit more, and there's like kind of like a bit of like jungle with some like little made huts there. And there's some kids out the front kicking around a soccer ball and playing with stuff, having the time of their life. And I was like, I'm here fucking worried about my Wi-Fi not working.
Yeah.
And these kids are like
having the time of their life.
Yeah, just laughing and enjoying just playing with the soccer ball. And I just had this moment. I don't know whether it was a collective thing, a bunch of other stuff, because I've really been trying to live with gratitude. Like after I got hit by the car and I couldn't train for a period of time and other stuff. It's just like, that just seemed to be a moment where it just slapped me in the face, like, you're fucking living overseas in Thailand, being able to work and travel and train jiu-jitsu, like,
not everyone in the world.
You ungrateful piece of shit. Yeah. So like, I just had this thing where it's like, you just got to choose to wake up and be happy. Yeah. And then I was like, yes, I'm going to be happy. And then I had this fucking sick ride afterwards. And then cause the Wi-Fi still wasn't working, I then just messaged my clients, hey, my Wi-Fi is down. I'll get back to you ASAP. But do you have any other questions? You can maybe ask me right now. So I can try to help you until I can do like the proper checking. And they were like, nah, cool, sweet. Yeah. And it was all good. If I just thought of being happy about it, hey, I'm a bit delayed because of this, I wouldn't even maybe went through that process if I just chose to be happy about it, try to find a solution, still be helpful. I think that's another thing, finding ways to be helpful. It also opens the door of gratitude. Yeah. And since then now, if I start to feel low, I just like, well, who can I help today or what am I grateful of?
Yeah. Taking it back to jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
How do you think jiu-jitsu helps with like mental health or just martial arts in general? Like, has it, well, actually my first question is going to be, have you ever had moments stepping on the mat where you just felt like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not insecure, but like almost intimidated by going back into the class, like starting a new gym or anything like that. Like, and then how did you overcome that? And then we'll lead into, how it helps with.
Definitely post-injury. Okay. Has been times where I've been a bit worried going back in. Because I also know, like, when I'm injured and I can't train as much, it affects my mental health. Okay. Just because training hard and achieving something, you just, get an endorphin rush, that self-accomplishment.
But for like, what do you think the difference is between training in martial arts for mental health versus just like going to the gym and working out? Do you think they're one and the same, or do you think that martial arts have more of a benefit to it?
Well, yes, because you're trying to get better at certain skills, but this also goes to thing, if you're going to the gym and you should have set goals. But this is a common problem of mine that I know a lot of people that will consistently train, and this is when I say they go exercise, which means they go just do things in the gym. They don't follow a program. Okay. So they're kind of like doing something. They go to get that set, and they don't know that they made a PR on Hayden and Sing Lift, or they just did a certain amount of the volume. So I think when people truly don't go to the gym without a program, they don't understand what it's like, obviously, when I followed fully structured programs and stuff. So even when I would go to the gym with a training schedule kind of thing, and then I'm injured, I now know that schedule's affected, so that would affect my mental health as well. Okay.
So you think that because martial arts have more of that sense of like accomplishment, because every time you go, you're more following a plan and you're training, you're like learning
whatever that skill is for today.
That's what's helping with the mental health aspect of it. And there's all that stigma on social media again, about like how jiu-jitsu is really great for people with autism and ADHD. What do you think about that?
I just think because it has a little bit more structure and set things like that, people like that just gravitate to it. Okay. Because I think there's other things in life that are a little bit more open. If you are just going to the gym and exercising without a clear path of what you're trying to do with the program and where you're trying to get your total volume to per exercise or whatever you're trying to track in a metric wise with that, I can understand why, ADHD people and that don't like going to the gym because that hasn't been put out in that context as well. Okay. Especially if you like numbers, if that's your type of tism.
Not my type of tism.
But like, I don't know. My brain, if it's like, I'm going to do this and there's an outcome, cool, I'll do it. Then there's also part of my brain that's like, how little can I do to still get that outcome?
Yeah.
Cause I want to be efficient, cause then I can still like do other things as well. Yeah, I was trying to answer more to your question, but I don't know if I clearly have ADHD, autism to actually be a spokesperson or talk about it.
Yeah.
I love the jokes and a lot of it's relatable, so it could be on the spectrum with that or whatever. I don't know, maybe that's why there's cool people in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, there's obviously funny jokes around that.
Yeah.
But it just, getting good at jiu-jitsu takes a different kind of person. And I can't remember what podcast it was, but someone was like people that—
Okay, we're back. The camera died. We're talking about mental health and jiu-jitsu and how that, what you think, that helps with.
But maybe that's also why I think it's a lot, just now have my side quest.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna show up in the rest of it. But I think the other thing is like, get humbled a lot. To think about and then the kind of things just to the next show up and it does really send by. So then change you're around.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to be the best when you have
Yeah, there's my best. That's okay. No,
I've been trying not to.
You tried really hard. No, but you're definitely right. Like I do like going just for the people a lot of times, just because like I like hanging out with everyone there, and I always, even if I don't feel like going and I end up going, I end up having a really good time.
Never regret it.
Exactly.
Like, I even say that to some people too, like just going to the gym, like just show up, do half a workout and go home.
Yeah.
Sometimes that still leaves you a bit there.
Yeah.
But you never regret not showing up to jiu-jitsu. Like, even if you don't roll. I say this to people when they get injured, like because mastering the art of showing up is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
When your routine gets out of whack, and fair enough, when you get injured, just like, if you can, still show up. If that routine is there, you know, but then you're watching something, but you're around the people that make you feel good as well. And then you don't feel detached from the sport as well, or the club. Yeah,
that's one thing that I have been struggling with a lot, is just like showing up to it. And like I say, like, you know, work's been crazy, or I've been on the liveaboard and I haven't really had time to, but then when I'm not on the liveaboard and I come home at the end of the day, I'm just like tired and I don't want to do the 30-minute walk, which is all excuses.
Yeah.
And
you should get a bike.
I know. But then like when I don't go, I'll literally like lay in bed and just have like decision paralysis. And then after the time has passed, which is like, well, shit, now it's too late to go. Then I feel like shit about it and I get really guilty. And I'm just like, oh, well, now my jiu-jitsu is going to get even worse. I'm not going to get any better than that. I'm not learning anything. I miss all the people. Like, what are they going to think? Like, all these different things are going through my head. And I just end up just laying there like, what am I doing?
And that cycle just doesn't start if you just go.
Yeah.
And I know it's easier said than done, but I talk about this with my clients quite often when we have the angel and devil on our shoulders. The longer the devil talks to us, the higher chances that they're going to convince us to do something that we don't value or align with our plan.
Yeah.
So normally we try to find the value with what they're doing, whether it's their value is, you know, having more energy as a father, their self-confidence. So when the devil starts to talk louder on their shoulder, you have that kind of 2 words or whatever. It's like self-confidence, piss off.
Yeah.
And you can shut it in the ass and go. Cause you know, if you then have that conversation for longer, it's going to win. And then that just turns into hours of feeling like shit. I didn't go.
And then that turns into like the next day. It's like, oh, I'll go the next day, and I'll go the next day.
But the other thing is then if you don't go, I will say then, what are you doing in replacement of that time
Absolutely
that's relatable?
nothing.
Well, that's the other thing, because sometimes I can understand you don't want to walk half an hour to this place if you're injured.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to walk there then to watch and go home. I fucking won't.
No,
right?
exactly. And like I'll usually try to go to the gym, but even when I go, it's just like I'll drag myself there and I'll be like, this workout sucks.
Yeah. So as of late, because my neck hasn't been the best and has been giving me the grief, if I'm not going to go, because okay, cool, then my thing is that I'm going to try to do some extra content creation, because then that saves me time in the future.
Yeah.
So when I'm feeling better, I can maybe do a double class that day.
Yeah.
So I'm doing like that. But the other thing is like, if you're not going to go, okay, cool, you're going to look at a few things online and related to your side quest.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm a bit sore, injured, or I'm running a bit late. Cool. I'm working on side control escapes. Cool. I'm going to at least YouTube 3 different escapes, try to write some notes on it. At least you then done something toward the cause.
That's true.
And that's like your plan B. It's not the best,
but at least it's something.
It's something towards it, and something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to lay there and be going, oh, fucking wasted time, and I now feel shit.
Yeah.
Because then you may lay there, it's like, cool, I can't wait to try this escape that I had looked at. I might catch them off guard because they haven't practiced yet.
Yeah.
So now it's like a positive thing.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because like when I don't go, like again, like the decision paralysis, and I'll just end up scrolling through my phone, just like pointless stuff. And I'll be like, I could have used that time to do so much more. Like I've got my little Bean Dude book that I've been working through, but like I'm still stuck on like page 7 because I just haven't like the time that I could be working on it, I end up just scrolling through social media.
So in that context too, because I'm sure you would know, I'm a meme whore. I'm a meme lord.
Yeah.
I share a lot of memes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll probably send like 50 odd a day to some people. If you end up in my top lists, you'll just get fucking spammed. But in that, because I work from home, like I can do it.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, okay, I'm not allowed to watch these videos or these reels that my friends have sent me until I finish at least 2 client check-ins. I'll finish that. Cool. Now I can laugh at them for like 5-10 minutes or whatever it may be. Cool. I put it down now. Now I have to finish this job, you know? And then it's the same kind of context of I have my creatine and electrolytes and warm water in the morning before I'm allowed coffee.
Okay.
I want that delicious coffee. So this goes to the Atomic Habits book. If you have not watched it or listened to it or whatever, fucking get it. It literally changed my life.
Atomic Habits?
Atomic Habits, yes.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name of the author right now.
I know which one you're talking about, but I also don't remember.
I've literally stolen parts of it and put it into my short course for my clients, and I use it in my coaching.
Okay.
And one I always talk about is like, do something you have to do before something you want to do. I want my delicious coffee in the morning, so I have my electrolytes and my creatine in the morning before I'm allowed that.
Okay.
So it's in that context of, okay, I got to do some of my client check-ins before I can scroll. So, but this is the other context as well, is that when you're sitting there scrolling because you're not going to training, it's still in the back of your fucking mind that I should put this down.
Yeah.
So now you're like semi-depressed, and then you're not even enjoying that fucking much.
No, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In that context with me, I'm like, ooh, I finished my check-in. Woohoo, I get to do this. Ooh, and then I'm fucking laughing and shit.
It's like a little treat.
Yeah. And then I'm okay, cool. I got to put this down now. Cool. All right. I want to go have lunch. I want to go cook up the steak and stuff. Cool. I now got to finish another client check-in or write this other post before I go. So I have like a list of things that I want to do or I have to do for the day. And then I obviously just want to be on social media and send memes and fun. I just like jump back and forth from it. And I don't feel like I'm working. Like I fucking love my job. Yes, I could work more. But then there's a whole other side of me pushing sales on people that probably aren't ready to buy in. And I hate doing that process and ruining, adding to possible failure because they just weren't ready yet. But in that context, it's like, if you just do something first, you just write one more page for that book or get started on it before you scroll.
Yeah.
Trust me, you'll enjoy it more. And then because you enjoyed it not feeling this, you're more likely to put it down again and go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I was just thinking about, like, Cause like, you know how you get like the dopamine fixes through scrolling? I think jiu-jitsu, like actually going to jiu-jitsu and like doing the rolls and like investing that time into it is also giving you that same type of dopamine fix.
100%.
Because you're just focused, just the same way you're focused on scrolling, you're focused on that technique. And I think that also is like why it helps so much with mental health, because it gives you something to just invest all of your brain power into.
Yes. But it's actually like, and I love going to the gym, but when I go to the gym in between sets, I start thinking about shit about my day, or someone said this, or my client this. I don't like, yes, I'm doing my workout and I don't enjoy it like I used to. But at jiu-jitsu, I'm present.
Yeah. And it's hard to not be present, because if you're not, then you're getting choked out by someone.
Yeah, well, that's true too. 100%. Yeah. But even like in between rounds, I guess, like, or whatever, then you're talking because someone said something to you, or you're watching someone else.
Yeah.
So I find most of the time I'm present. Yeah, and I think that's another big thing from that.
Yeah.
Where you're living in the now.
Yeah. And I think that's really important when it comes to, especially like when people, like if you're depressed or like you have trouble getting out of certain mindsets, or like if you're an overthinker like I am, and it's hard for you to not overthink about like every little detail of your day. And then when you're there, it's like you're only thinking about that, and it helps separate. It gives your brain a break almost.
Yeah, and then when you like leave it alone and then you come back to whatever's stressing you out, you have a different like fresh view.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, that's not so bad, and this is. It's like when you stare at like a puzzle for ages and you're like, I can't figure this out.
Yeah, and then you leave and you come back.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, so we've been talking for probably like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours now.
Yeah.
I have my little guest book. So glad you're here. I need you to put a quote in, something that's helped you out throughout your life or that's really meaningful to you. Write it down. You can choose whatever page you want to write down. You can look at everyone else's quotes if you want. And then that's a stick, not a pen. And then just kind of, once it's done, tell me a little bit about it. I'm going to just say one other one, which this too shall pass, which is like a common one when you're feeling down and you're getting in this negative mindset. It's like, it's going to pass. So if you like just choose to be happy, it will go over. Like you have 100% success rate of getting through bad days. And that's another favorite quote of mine. Like, I know I said I got a lot of them, but it's like, the end of the world. It's not. And you've survived 100% of them. So that is such a good way to think of it.
Yeah, but
I like that.
My one that I like the most is procrastination is the seed of anxiety.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to sign your name next to it too. So I know it was from you.
And in that context, like whenever we feel anxious, it's because we're not doing shit or we haven't finished something.
Yeah.
Like that's a large part of stuff.
No, my bad.
Like, or you haven't gone to jiu-jitsu. Like you're not feeling anxious, wasting my time.
Yeah.
Well then do something productive in that time.
Procrastination is...
But it doesn't have to be much. And sometimes like I know a lot of other coaches and people that are like PTs and that. Sometimes you wake up 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, this client, I forgot to do that, or whatever. Or I'm failing with my business and I could be doing more. If I sit there and then I just fucking go around and around, it's like, if I then just write some notes down, okay, I need to do A, B, and C. It's some kind of planning. That anxiety reduces a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of action, and then action creates motivation is like one of my other favorite quotes as well.
I like all, full of good quotes. Beautiful. Thank you.
Sorry for my childlike handwriting.
It's cute. Very cute. Is what a
seed.
Seed. All right. Well, thank you for agreeing to be on my podcast and teaching us about nutrition and mental health and how all of it plays together.
Well, if you don't already follow me, it's pp_training with Hope on Instagram. And I have a lot of great Great quotes.
Wait. I was like, wait.
I need to eat some food.
All right. Well, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Are we supposed to shake?
I don't know.
You need help. I
I
can
was like,
sign.
should I hug you? Should I give you a handshake?